So welcome to the new 20 SEO Formula. We specialize with basement waterproofing and foundation repair companies, and we have a lot of great content to cover today. So this is about SEO. We do have sort of an internet marketing plan. I think it's 20 pages or so. It's on our resources page. You care to download it. That's going to cover several different disciplines and kind of your overall, what's your plan for the year. If I could start here as a starting point, we have a digital dominance blueprint, and we want to support our contractors to dominate the internet and to grow their company. So we start with converting website. If you rank number one with every single keyword, but you can't convert that into a phone call and get your reps out to the home, it doesn't do any good. So you need a website that converts. SEO is really important. You want Google to trust you. You want to have a lot of authority with Google, and that comes with SEO. Google Ads is a way to sort of get a lot of leads fast. Google Ads is kind of like using a microwave. Literally, after turning on a Google Ads account, we can get your phone to ring within a day or two. And then SEO can be more like a crock pot where it's slower. You got to kind of turn it on in the morning and, wait for the food. Facebook ads is another way to get leads fast. Facebook ads are pretty inexpensive. Just the quality is not there, but you're getting what you're paying for. Substantially less expensive than Google ads. And then the other thing we do is we really want to boost your online reputation. We know from a lot of different sources what people are doing now is they are only calling the companies that they really trust. So they're doing their research before they're reaching out to the company. And 90% of people are looking at customer reviews. So, why waste your time talking to a company if, a half or even a fifth of the reviews are bad? People are only really calling the ones that have a 4-star or higher. So we support our clients in getting reviews all over the place. We have a couple of clients now that have over 2,000 5-star reviews and like several different, BBB, Angie's List, Home Advisor, Facebook. Their Google listing. And so it's such a convincing story. Wherever the customer looks, they're seeing 5-star reviews. And then all these leads are coming in. We want to make sure that we can nurture these, and so that they pick up the phone and talk to your office, and you can schedule a rep out into the home. Social media is critical. All customers feel safer with companies that are using social media. You don't want to be that house that has 12-inch grass and the kids are afraid to trick or treat there and there's boards on the window. You want to be active with social. And it makes sense that customers are more comfortable buying from someone that's active on social, because if there is a problem with the job, and basement waterproofing, foundation repair, talking 12 to 20,000, foundation repair, you can get 30 to 40,000 easy. So you definitely want to work with a company that you trust. So you need that outlet to say, hey, there's a problem, and then the owner gets notified, and then you could deal with it right away. And then tracking. We want to track all these lead sources. We don't just, dump them into one pile. We put call tracking in, and you can identify where the calls are coming from and seeing what kind of return on investment you're getting from these lead sources. All right, so if I could ask you to turn your cell phones off and Facebook notifications, and really focus on this. We say that the content that we have could be life-changing. And I know that might sound like a stretch, but here's the thing. We have a lot of clients, contractor clients, that own waterproofing foundation repair companies that own, second houses, and not a boat at their summer home, but boats. And one of our clients has bought race cars for his wife because she likes a race car, and our clients have kids going to like really expensive colleges. And maybe for you, you're just wanting to, pay for your kids' braces or pay down some credit card. And that's fine. It doesn't matter where you're at. What we really enjoy doing is helping companies grow, especially basement waterproofing, foundation repair. We've been doing this for 10 years, and we're kind of, we feel like we're getting good at it. It's really rewarding to help companies in that regard. So some of the things that we're going to cover today, we're going to cover the latest Google algorithm updates. things that you may have put in place in the past, they could actually be hurting you. So we'll explore that together. And then we'll learn how to optimize using kind of the new SEO formula. So who am I and why should you listen to me? I'm the owner and CEO of Rainmaker Internet Marketing and Rainmaker for Contractors. Been doing this for 11 years. I owned my own waterproofing company for 15 years before this. I spent my own money on advertising. I didn't experiment with other people's. I got good at it, and waterproofers actually started contacting me saying, hey, can you do for me what you're doing for yourself? Our agency is an award-winning Google Premier Partner, puts us in the top 4% of partners worldwide. Co-author of Intro to Marketing Automation. We're very involved with the Basement Health Association. I'm the former president, been on the board for 11 years, and I think that the best credential that we can offer you is we just really have a proven track record for helping waterproofing and foundation repairs grow. That's what makes us tick. That's what we're all about, and so it's exciting to us. Here's a couple photos. Basement Health Association, we always have our annual conference in Las Vegas, and we have conferences throughout the United States. And then Google has flown John and I here, who helped resurrect the audio. John worked with me at the waterproofing company several years ago, but Google's flown us out 3 different times to their headquarters. One time we won a contest for the top 50 partners in the world, and that was fun to interact with people throughout the world. Okay, does SEO still matter? Let me ask you to type into the chat if you think SEO still matters. If you could type a 1 in for yes and a 2 in for no. And if you're like, I'm not really sure, put in a 3 for the chat. And yeah, maybe a little bit. So getting some 1s. 1, thumbs up. Okay, so we're on the same page. SEO still matters. That's why you're here, right? So we're on the same starting point. If you type in a keyword and the map shows up, so Google has tagged that keyword as a local intent word, meaning the searcher is trying to find something locally. They're not looking for something out of state. And then just on the very top, you're going to see ads. Usually there's 4 of them. It's a real competitive space. Then you have the map section. There's the 3-pack, we call it. Back in the day, it used to be 7. So now it's 3, and sometimes Google slips an ad on the very top, so they actually make it a 4-pack, but there's 3 organic. And then lastly, underneath the map section is the organic section. So here's what's interesting. 71% of the clicks are coming from the top 6 sections underneath the map section. All right. And then stay with me because it changes just a little bit. 67% of the clicks are coming in from the 5 listings. So 3 from the maps and then the 2 in the organic section. So that is a lot. Now, does SEO still matter? Of course it does. That's a ton of clicks. Here's one of our clients, last 30 days. Total transparency, we only checked 2 clients, and this one looked better, so we put it up. Total calls, 282 in the last 30 days. 217 of them came from SEO or organic. So those are actually free calls versus pay-per-click. We have, the majority of our clients do pay-per-click as well, and I can tell you it can be very expensive. So everyone likes free clicks. So yes, SEO still matters, and you can't rely just on pay-per-click alone. I have a better question, and that is, why would you just want to rely on pay-per-click when you can get free clicks if you play the game right? So that's where we're headed. 4 biggest changes that we've seen, and we're actually going to cover quite a few, but the 4 biggest changes that I'd like to talk about now is you can no longer get away with duplicate content. I'll unpack this in a second. The second one is low-quality spammy links pointed back to your website could actually be hurting you. Number 3, you need a real physical office to rank well on Google Maps. And then number 4, there's this aspect thing called technical SEO. It matters today, more so than ever before. So the first one, you can't get away with duplicate content anymore. So most of our clients at waterproofing, foundation repair, they are covering a 25 to 50 mile radius. In some states, they're actually going much further than that. So it used to be pretty common to set up a city page for every single town that you're covering, and every page would be identical. All the words would be the same. Sometimes even like some dumb picture would be the same. But the only word that would be different is the city. And the hope would be is that Google would be tricked and that page would rank well and they would get calls from it just from merely what we'll call on-page optimization. I'll explain that in a second. And then people would sometimes set up microsites just with, like, for example, foundation repair in the city and try to get that to rank high. And, you know, several years ago, it kind of worked, but it's just different today. So the algorithm has changed. And then what we say is your pages, they have to be unique. So we still believe in city pages. We just believe that either half or at least at a minimum of two like nice quality content paragraphs need to be unique, that you're not going to find anywhere else, and they're unique to your page. And Google values that. So how Google's algorithm gets made is it's with artificial intelligence, and they basically had humans train these computers how to think and how to, like, in this crazy fast speed, like read all these websites and figure out what should be ranking. So it's got to be good quality, unique content. All right. Number two, too many irrelevant, low-quality links pointed back to your website could actually hurt you. So it used to be all about links. You know, the more links you have, wow, this is a super authoritative link, or sorry, website. Like, look at all these links. And then the Penguin update came out and really addressed quality and relevant links. So several years ago, I got a call in our office, and it was a gentleman from Wisconsin. He owned a furniture store. They sold furniture online, and he said, my website disappeared about a month ago. He said, I'm a little bit desperate. I've talked to 4 or 5 agencies. No one can help me. No one knows why this has happened. And we talked a little bit, and I said, you know, when did this happen? And he said it was around, I think he said like May 22nd. So I typed in May 22nd, Google algorithm update. You know, sure enough, Penguin jumped right up. And then it was like, okay, what is the Penguin algorithm change about? And it was about relevant links. So, okay, we're on to something, right? So then I asked for his analytics and confirmed this data. And then we put his website into a tool called Moz, moz.com. Super handy. There's a lot of free tools there, and it will tell you all the links that are associated. So I put his URL in Moz, looked at all the links. They'll list the most authoritative ones on the top. And the very first link was the San Diego Zoo. So what does the San Diego Zoo have to do with furniture? You know, obviously nothing. And boy, I got to tell you, you know, as he should be, the guy was so disappointed because he had been paying an agency to do SEO for, I think he said 2 years. And he I don't know if I included this, but he said that website supports 2 families. And for basically a month, that website and their income got cut off for a month. You know, never mind the fact that he'd been paying an agency to do SEO for them. So how we do SEO, we are not trying to make you a one-hit wonder. Yes, we could do black hat things, but we never would. You know, we're not trying to make you the Go-Go Girls and have one good CD. We want you to be like Pearl Jam, U2, the Rolling Stones, and this is your livelihood. This is your future. You're going to be in the trades for a while, and we expect for you to grow in a solid reputation online with Google. So we use what's called white hat strategies. So another point here, we're going to have to review your link profile and get rid of bad links. There's a way to disavow links. Google has a tool where you can identify your bad links, and you say, hey, Google, like, we want nothing to do with these links. A few spammy links that are low quality, you know, I wouldn't worry about it. It's not going to really, if it's under like 3 or 5%, I wouldn't worry about it. But if you have a higher percentage than that, I would recommend, you know, to disavow those links. And then you want to have a diversity of anchor text. So the number one common anchor text is click here, which might help you understand what an anchor text is. So when you're on the internet and there's some words that are highlighted in blue, and then you click it and it takes you to another page, that's considered an anchor text. And Google actually looks at the words that you're clicking on. So click here, unless you're trying to rank for the phrase click here, that's not a great keyword to rank for. So if your foundation repair would be, foundation repair or foundation repair company, or having diversity, or basement waterproofing, or wet basement, or leaky basement, those are better anchor texts, and having a variety of those. And also, you don't want them to be going to the same page either. That looks spammy. It would look more natural if maybe 30 to 50% went to the home page, and then the other percentages are going to different pages throughout the website. That looks more natural to Google.
Hey, Bill, we have a question here.
Got a question here. What do we got?
What exactly is the anchor text, and how do you put that into a page on your website?
So, all right. So if you're writing a blog, which we would recommend to be blogging on a regular basis, and you always want your website to be helpful. So you want external links and internal links. So for an external link, you could put like moldy basement. Let's say your blog is about mold and basements. And so somewhere in the middle of the content, it's usually weighted more when it's in the middle of content versus the top and the bottom. You have a sentence talking about moldy basements, and you can hyperlink the phrase moldy basement. And then when that phrase gets clicked on, that's going to take you to another page, and that page should be all about moldy basements. So then Google says, okay, the content is not only about moldy basements, but they have an external link. Actually, this would be an internal link if it's going to the website about moldy basements. So I'm going to give this one page more weight about moldy basements. So I'm going to move it up if I'm comparing it to a page that is just about moldy basements without an anchor text and a hyperlink in there. Hope that makes sense to you. But that's an anchor text kind of unpacked a little bit. Thanks for that question. All right, so 3. You need to have a real physical office to rank well on Google Maps. So we have a lot of stories with this. If you've been in this business for a while, we've seen quite a few things. Back about 10 or 12 years ago, people would be creating all these fake offices, and it would actually work, and they would be like showing up all over the city, and it would look like, man, this company must be huge. They have 15 offices, and it literally might be like a guy that works out of his basement or something, but he just set up these fake offices. Well, Google has really put a kibosh to all those fake offices. You really need a physical address. You need to be able to have a customer go to your place. You need to have a sign on the door, and you need to have an employee that works there. So that's what Google's looking for. When Google made this change about a year and a half ago, Google took some like legitimate businesses down, and then Google said, sorry, you're going to have to prove to us that you're legit. And so we were coordinating with people in India, working for Google with our contractor, trying to get a time, and they would have to use a Google tool to do a virtual tour on video and prove that this is a legitimate office. So, really for the better search results and for the good of everybody, you need to have a real office now. It gets tricky because I think we all know at this stage that one of the high ranking factors under the Google Maps section is the geolocation. So the closer you are that you're searching, the closer you are to the company, the greater chance that this company is going to show up. So it's all about like, well, how do we legitimately expand that? Because I would like to be a couple towns over and still rank number 1 for that keyword, and that's hard to do. So you need all that other stuff in line to expand your geo-targeting space in the Google Maps section. So real physical address, things like UPS stores, mailboxes, Regis's virtual offices, they won't work anymore. All right, on occasion, somebody set something up and it got grandfathered in and it made it past the Google radar screen, and it is what it is. So hopefully that doesn't happen often. Okay, number 4, technical SEO matters. So how long it takes for your website to load is really important. So we use a tool called GT Metrics, and in that tool there's you could go to GT Metrics and put your URL in. It's free, and just hit enter and give it about a minute or two, and it's going to tell you how fast your website loads. But there's going to be 2 boxes. And if it's those 2 boxes, the first one is page speed score. If they're 80% or higher, you're going to have green boxes. And if it's lower than 80%, it's going to be red. And then they're going to tell you the things that you need to fix, probably your web developer. And oftentimes it's, reducing the image size. Don't take one of these big SLR cameras and put in a 30 pixel photo on your website. It's going to have a harder time loading, and how you use video matters as well. So web speed is also important because of our bent towards ADD. We can kind of joke and say to some extent we all have ADD. So if we hit enter and we're waiting for a website to load, we're like, screw this, and we go back because there's 10 other websites that will load like that. So we're not going to wait. So that kind of abandonment rate, it's bad for a couple of reasons, because you spend all this money, say, on SEO, pay-per-click, and you finally get someone to come to your website and click your URL, but they're waiting too long, so they leave. So that's bad. But then Google sees that people leave, and then that hurts your SEO as well, because Google wants you to have a good experience. All right, schema markup. So schema is coding language that the search engines have agreed to, that when they see this certain coding, they're going to give more value to certain keywords. So this is absolutely critical to have the schema markup around your address, your name, address, phone number, and certain keywords. Now, if you have a WordPress website, there's plugins that make this easier, but having the right schema markup is absolutely critical. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. It's going to kind of help you jumpstart your SEO efforts. So some other things, what else has changed? Old-fashioned SEO is not effective. In the day, post Panda, Penguin, Pigeon, there was the mobile index update that if you didn't have mobile, a website that was mobile friendly, you're being penalized. Also, Google, because so many people are using mobile, well over 50%, sometimes 80% to get to websites, that they're actually using your mobile version of your website for ranking factors. There's what's not included in here is Hummingbird was a big update. There's another big update called Fred. And since then, about the last 2 years, there's been what Google has called core updates. This is fine-tuning. There's actually Google algorithm updates several times a day. There's small ones, but we're only talking about the big ones here. But what comes out of all these different changes, where we're at today, is it's a user experience. Google wants to give people a really good user experience. So what does that mean? Okay, great, user experience. What does that mean? That means good quality content, and it means giving it to the reader in a way that's easy to absorb. They don't have to be clicking and going over here and information's all gated. It's easy to find. There's easy navigation. It's easy to get to. There's actually a whole list. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but just a positive user experience. So some of the new ranking factors, click-through rate. So this is coming off of the search engine results. Let's say your website is listed 4th in position. And for whatever reason, people are clicking your website more than, say, position number 2 and position number 3. And Google's going to take note of that. And then they'll say, hey, let's move position number, the the website in position number 4 higher because people are going there already. So click-through rate is important. Scroll rate, are people actually looking at your website and looking around and going to the bottom? You could we often put a heat map on our websites to see where people are clicking. So you want people to engage in your website, which relates to bounce rate. I'll just jump to bounce rate now. So if people are going to your website and they are looking around going, leaving. It's not what I'm wanting. I'm wanting more of like a professional. I want to go to a website where I feel like, okay, this is a reflection of their work. I could just tell this is a company that cares about details. Then they're going to stay there a little bit longer. I'm going to go up. Time on page is a big deal. So this all relates to a positive user experience. You have good quality content that speaks to them. It speaks to their problems. That's really going to help you. What else helps is video. So people like to watch video. Don't make it too long, never over 5 minutes, preferably 1 to 2 minutes because that ADD factor, but that keeps them on the site. Number of citations and reviews and relevant links, all that stuff matters. Another one that's not on here, I would say, which is engaging, is stay away from stock photos. So the more photos you could have that are you, that are real, that are of your crews, that are of your happy customers, that are of your work, people like that. And not only put it on your website, but also put it on your Google listing, your Google My Business. All right, some more new SEO formula. Figure out what the most important keywords are based in your service area and the search volume. And there's a lot of different tools for that. Google Keyword Tool, WordStream, SpyFu, Google Ads has a tool inside of it if you have an account. Moz, Keyword Spy is another one that's not listed here. I really like Moz, just the way it's laid out. You might need a subscription for that area. And then set up your website so that there's pages that are targeting both your services and your city pages. Can't tell you how many accounts we take over and there's one page for services. And in our onboarding process, we're interviewing them and they're saying, yeah, we did this, we did this, we did that. And I'll say, you just rattle off, 4 different pages, 4 different major services that you offer that it's kind of hidden, that the customer may not even know that you do that. So when you have a page dedicated just to this specific thing, then it's going to be easier to rank on Google versus like blending it all into one page. Optimize your user experience, optimize your site for SEO. You can do an on-site optimization and then an off-site optimization. So we'll unpack that a little bit. And then to track your results. I think too many people view SEO as like that black hole that you just throw money in. You're not really sure if your agency is doing something. Because I come from the contractor world and I've sort of been on the other side of the desk, I like to track things. And I came from the franchise world where everything gets tracked. So we give starting points to our clients and we say, here's 5 or 6 things that we're working on and here's where we're starting. And we keep a record and we email a record to the client. And that way they could see our progress. That way it's not like voodoo internet marketing. Who knows what's happening, right? Okay, so this is listed by alphabetical order. There's just some really good keywords. It's not just like basement waterproofing as the money word. Is it the money word? Yes, it is the money word. And then I really like foundation repair. These are the money words, but and I know that not everyone's typing in basement waterproofing. Might be typing in like leaky basement or moldy basement or how do I fix my basement or something about sump pumps. And sump pump is, you don't want to be changing sump pumps for $300, right? You're really looking for like the $12,000 to $20,000 drain tile jobs. But you never know. Sometimes it starts one place, you get into a home, you think there's one crack, and suddenly you're looking around, there's 4 cracks, there's mold, there's dry rot, there's bugs. So you start with what you have, and there's a lot of different keywords that people are typing in. Same with foundation repair. It's not all just about foundation repair. Sometimes it's just about a crack, and you realize that the whole foundation has sunk and shifted, and cabinets upstairs are not shutting, and sliding glass doors are sticking because the whole foundation is tilted. And you put a marble on a floor and suddenly, it's rolling. So the foundation is sunk, and suddenly you have a lot more to work with. So on-page optimization, which we alluded to before. So on-page optimization only makes up about 20% of SEO. So on-page optimization is the content and the keywords that you're using on the page. Leverage multimedia. We talked about having video on your page, having pages for each service. Those are all good things. So I'm going to get slightly nerdy here. Title tag. The title tag is the most important meta tag that talks to Google's algorithm to explain what your page is about. It's very easy to tell Google what this page is about. We like to put the what we call the money word in, or whatever the page is about. So let's say it's about basement waterproofing, putting that in first, maybe with the city, putting a line, and then putting the name of your company. I don't like putting the company first. I also don't like having a page called home. Unless you're wanting to rank for the keyword home, you got to pay attention to your title tag. H1 tag, that's, if this were a website, this page was a website, I would say on-site optimization is the H1 tag. It's sort of like in Microsoft, it's like highlighting the phrase, making it bold, and doubling the font. And that way Google flies through there, and they're going to give more credit to that H1 tag. So there's H1 all the way to H4, and the higher you go on the H's, the smaller the font goes. Meta description. So a meta description is something that shows up under the URL in the search engine results page. So pay attention to that, because you could write it in such a way that it could sell more. It could be more convincing that your company is the company to go with. And then this one often gets overlooked. Quite honestly, we're really talking about local SEO, not just SEO. If you're in New York, you're not looking for customers in California. So local SEO, this is absolutely critical. Make sure your name, address, phone number is in the footer of every single page on your website. You just got to have it. Another thing that gets overlooked all the time is you need to have a contact us page, and it's got to be linked to your Google listing. And if you have multiple offices, it's really important that you have a page dedicated for each office, and that unique Google listing goes to that unique contact us page. That's how you're going to be able to rank underneath the map section. The last point we have here is regular blogging and optimize these city pages and services. So when you blog, you could, we refer to a blog called Moldy Basements. So you could have a blog about moldy basements. You could also take that blog and say, moldy basements in, and put your favorite city, and then highlight that city, and then maybe make reference to that city with a anchor text pointing to that city, pointing maybe to the Wikipedia page, or to the city government page, or the Chamber of Commerce. And that way Google gives that city page and moldy basements a little bit more credit. So those are some on-page optimization tricks. Here is an example. I'm going to point something slightly out here different that's, I think, really powerful. So an example number one of our clients over at Waterproofing of Columbus, 600 reviews. Quick question here, if you're trying to figure out which company to call, I think you'd feel safer with the company that's got all the reviews, and obviously you're caring about their business, right? What I want to point out is, I don't think people are always aware of this. So if you're in the ad section, let's say your ad is on the page and you get a 5% click-through rate, and it's the only listing that you have, 5%. All right, so now let's say you can get into the map section. So let's say you typically get like a 5% click-through rate in the map section. So you're on there twice. So if you're on there twice, one might think, well, let's see, I get 5% of ads and I get 5% in the Google Maps section. What actually happens If you're listed twice, there's a synergy effect. You would think, wow, so I'll get 10% of the clicks when I get that kind of search result page. If you're listed twice, you're going to get closer to 15 or 20% because people see you twice. There's a tendency to say, wow, these people are everywhere. And now in this example, we have a listing 3 times. So they're listed 3 times. They have a much greater percentage chance because there's a synergy effect because they're listed all over the page. So that's powerful. All right, here's another example of multiple listings. They're in the maps. All right, on the top there, Google's sneaky. Google's always looking to make more money. So if you look, there's a little green box in the top left, and that says ad. So that's actually programmed by a Google Ads account. And then they're also in the map section lower down. So that's how you get on there twice. That is a really clever, nice job, John, on that, sneaking that ad in there in the map section. Here's some KPI, 217 calls. They spend $2,000 a month on SEO, and they're averaging $9.22 per call. I've seen clicks on Google Ads between $25 and $50 for the basement waterproofing money word. And that's just for a click. That's not a lead. These are actually phone calls that get tracked. And so the owner is able to play these calls whenever they want as they have access to them. Okay, let's talk about off-page. So talk about on-page, how we can manipulate a page. Off-page has to do with the stuff that happens outside. So when we get to work with a new contractor, one of the really important things, right away we got to double check their listing. Oftentimes it's not completed. Oftentimes we're adding phone numbers. You could add a coupon or a blog towards the bottom, which kind of makes it stand out. And then once you start getting authority, they start pulling your reviews from other sources. So we start with your Google My Business listing, make sure that's as complete as possible. Then we start cleaning up your name, address, phone number consistency. So you want to be listed in as many citations as you can, but you need to have that listing to be the same. So the same name, same address, same phone number. And probably 80 to 90% of the new accounts that come on board with us, that's messed up. It needs major work. And sometimes it means that you moved 5-10 years ago. Sometimes you worked with some company and they put call tracking on. It wasn't set up right. And so a bunch of listings are listed with your wrong phone number. Sometimes people have tried to use a spammy name and tried to stick basement waterproofing in the middle of their company name. And so now some of the listings have one name and other listings have another. All that kind of stuff looks spammy to Google. So when Google can kind of do a background check in a millisecond and your name, address, phone number is the same everywhere, that's going to build trust. And the more citations like that, the better off you are. Having lots of reviews is really important. We have a software that we use. There's a lot of good ones. Nearby Now, Birdeye, Review Buzz. The thing about reviews is it doesn't matter what tool you use. What we've noticed is the companies that do well with this, they develop a core value and they take pride in doing a great job for a customer, under-promising, over-delivering, and then asking for the review. And then internally acknowledging that, whether it's a bonus or whether it's staff lunch if they get a certain amount of reviews, or posting it on the office wall. Our goal is this for a number of reviews. It's much more than just oh yeah, we need more reviews. So and then you need to build authoritative links to your website. That's about 25% of the game, having authoritative links. Okay, the secret to getting ranked on Google Maps. No, I'm not going to, I want to shoot straight with you. So the Geo Targeting factor, it's a big deal. It's really a big deal. And all the other work is trying to get you to expand beyond that. So part of it is reviews, as we show here. Part of it is citations, which we just talked about, being listed everywhere. All these things build trust, having authoritative links. These are all really important factors in building authority and expanding that area to get under the map section.
We'll get another question here.
All right. Another question coming.
How did you get more reviews for your clients, or how do your clients get more reviews for themselves?
All right, reviews. I'll give you the quick version of that, and I could talk for a long time. I would say, you really have to, as an owner, you have to take ownership of this, and you have to recognize that it's important. It's not even something you could delegate to somebody else. So you have to recognize that this is huge, and 90% of people are looking at reviews, and you have to say, I need to fix this. And we owners, we entrepreneurs, there's 1,000 things to focus on. You've got to limit what you're going to focus on. So make that a priority and be consistent and measure it and put it up on the wall and track it and so on. And then we always taught our crews to, at first it starts with the sales rep. They bring it up in the home that we're really looking for a positive review, and it helps let other people know, right? And don't let your reps overpromise. We like to underpromise. And then we train the crews to over-deliver. When a crew comes back, we always say, hey, what did you do to over-deliver? What did you do that blew away the customer? And we keep track of that. And there's different things that you could over-deliver. And then there's a law of reciprocity that when you over-deliver and then you go to a customer and you say, hey, is there any way you can leave us a review that would really help us? Then they're like, gosh, you guys have done so much. You even did things that I didn't even think you would do. I didn't even think to ask. We love you guys. It's great. They're much more willing to give you a review. Another thing I've seen contractors do, they like to wait a month. Don't do that. You have to ask the question, when is the customer happiest? Usually happiest when you're leaving the job and everything's done and everything's put back and it's cleaned up and you did a great job. That's usually when they're happiest. Ask them for a review when they're the happiest. So those are some tips to get reviews. I'm going to throw in a couple quick tips. If you ever do staff meeting, start all meetings with reviews. Just reinforce that this is your mission as a company to help people to do a great job, to over-deliver, to make them happy, and teach that should bring satisfaction to them. And then have a contest. Wherever you're at, add 10%, and at the end of next month, if they hit it, buy them lunch, whatever your number is, whatever makes sense for you. Hope that helps. I'm going to move on. Don't get me talking about that. I'll talk for an hour. Okay, so if you look in the map section and you kind of look at what people are doing, I think, John, one more. How are these ranking? Here's the factors that we see over and over again. The Google listing is claimed. That's pretty common, but it's got a full profile. There's pictures. There's engagement. There's no spam in the company name. There's lots and lots of reviews. There's the keyword in the title tag. For example, we have Cleveland basement waterproofing. That's an important keyword for one of our clients. There's a lot of citations, and there's a name, address, phone number, consistency. That's so overlooked, I can't tell you. And then there's a really solid link profile. They have a lot of links. There's diversity in their anchor text. The links are relevant. They're authoritative. So that's what we see, and that's how you percolate towards the top with internet marketing. Yeah, I gotta share this with you. It's when I owned my waterproofing company, we had I don't even want to tell you how many telemarketers. Back in the day when telemarketing was in, we literally went through hundreds of telemarketers over the years. It's not a job that people keep for a long time, and that's hard work. And then we had canvassers, knocking on doors, and that's hard work. We did shows all the time, 25 to 50 shows a year. And so when you think about internet marketing, you're literally just typing on a keyboard and you're trying to communicate to Google on page, off page, and then people want to pursue you. They pick up the phone and they book a lead. That's amazing compared to all the work that I've been involved with lead generation. Internet marketing is just an amazing field. So this stuff is really cool. It's interesting to see how the world's changed a lot. All right, new SEO formula, some more stuff. Set up great website with pages for each service in each city. We keep emphasizing that. Get your keyword and your geo modifier in the title tag of each page. Use unique content, no duplicate stuff and just taking it from other people and dropping it in. Use video, try to reduce that bounce page, get a lot of online reviews, build your citations, create name, address, phone number consistency. If you're ever setting up a directory listing, don't just be like, oh, I think I'll use this name. This is a better name. That really matters because it gets on Google and it gets all over the place. Post updated content on an ongoing basis and build links and authoritative links. So I'm offering, if you're interested, a free acceleration session. What we would do is we would look at your keywords, look at your online reputation, your links, your citations, your social presence, how effective your website is, and we would share this information with you. If it ever makes sense for us to work together, great. If not, that's fine too. We would appreciate the opportunity just to be of help to people. And our number is there, and you know how to contact us. I hope today was helpful. I hope it was good. I'm going to leave a spot for any kind of questions that might come in. But there's great content. The key to success obviously is not ideas. It's not webinars. It's really implementing. So the faster you can implement, the more you can implement, the more success that you're going to have. Any last questions? Otherwise, we'll wrap this up. All right. Went a little over. Thanks. You have a great day.